Welcome to Black Renaissance. I'm your host, Kristen Ayers. We're always looking for new show ideas, so pitch them to us on our Facebook page. That page is facebook.com/Black Renaissance KBCW-TV. And you can also see archives of this show as well. Today's show focuses on faith-based work around justice and inclusion. And first up, please welcome Reverend Andriette Earl. She's the founding minister of Heart and Soul Center of Light. Welcome, Reverend Andriette.
Thank you, Kristen.
It's such a pleasure
to be here.
Pleasure to have you on the show, and I've had a great time just talking to you a little bit beforehand here. Heart and Soul Center of Light is a Spirit of Mind church?
Science of Mind is
church.
the principle. That's the teaching that we practice.
What is Science of Mind?
Science of Mind is, I'm going to say it's an amalgam of certainly science, and what that means to us is that it's replicable. So any principle that we would offer to practice, it must be replicable. So it would be that forgiveness, for example, is a principle. It would mean that if you're truly practicing forgiveness, you will get the kinds of results that we're talking about if practiced. And the mind activity, I think of it as heart-mind activity. So it's not just the mental activity, although there's a huge element of what is it that we're thinking. We believe that everything is created twice. First in mind, in our thought, and then in form.
And that's so whether what you're thinking is positive or negative.
Exactly. Most especially what you said. So if it's positive, it tends to be what we hoped for. And if it isn't, it's what we didn't plan for, but what we practiced.
Science of Mind. And there are a number of Science of Mind churches. I know people who've attended Science of Mind churches. I don't know that everyone always knows exactly what it's all about. So is it Bible-based teaching as well?
It is for us, certainly. What I know is that the master teacher, Yeshua, that the world ultimately came to call Jesus, has a method of being, is a master exemplar of his, frankly, what I would say is that his teaching can be synthesized into what we believe, that it is done unto us as we believe. And so it has everything to do with the way that we teach and what we endeavor to practice, is that because it's done unto us as we believe, if we change our beliefs, we then have a different system in play. And that's really a message for our time.
Absolutely. It sounds like a very sort of modern concept or a modern translation that people can sort of relate to of Jesus, of the Bible, of religion. So it is a religion, or it's a part of religion?
It absolutely is. And I think that while we can see it as modern, it's very ancient. Very ancient and basic in a way of thinking that however we are, whatever it is we're believing, brings about our experience of life. And if you think about that for a moment, that's a huge opportunity to shift everything. When I look at the world today, it's a reflection of what we're believing and how we are engaging our belief system.
That's
and if we think about what we would change, it would begin there. Each one of us changing within, rather than kind of trying to, not liking what we see in the mirror and trying to break the mirror. Instead, it would be not liking what I see in the mirror and be willing to make the change within so that a different reflection could happen.
That is a powerful concept. And you say it really is ancient, maybe so ancient that it's modern. But when I think of the modern day church, that sounds unique to me. I mean, you guys not only deal with what's going on inside of you and translating that to your outside circumstances, but you also manage to incorporate current events, day-to-day, what's happening.
Yes.
We've been talking here about what happened in Orlando, the death of Muhammad Ali, some of the major events that have happened lately, and these are issues that you've all broached in your church.
We have to, because if anything, it's got to be real. And I think that that is one of the things that's happening with religion as a practice. For many people, it's no longer relevant. But it's not that it isn't relevant, it's just that a specific practice is not relevant. It's not relevant to tell people that they're wrong for being who they are, because that's all we've got. So there's something in everyone. Each one of us is a divine being. And some of our work is to discover that. It's for me to discover my own divinity and for me to see it in you and in them and in them. It's to see the presence of God wherever I am. And I'm not, it sounds like it's easy, but I'd be the first to say that mine is not a mountaintop teaching, that very often I'm teaching from the valley. I'm trying to reach up and ask somebody to help me out with a prayer or a word, because I'm living this life. So if anything, it's applying it in every situation and every circumstance to the degree that we can.
Well, I can't wait to talk to you about what kinds of sermons you had the chance to have because of some of these current events. And we're going to have you back later on in this show. It's been fascinating talking to you. Thank you so much for coming. We'll talk to you again a little later on. For more information about Heart and Soul Center of Light, you can log on to heartsoulcenter.org. That's heartsoulcenter.org. We'll be back with more from Reverend Andriette later on in the show.